start by dropping into our space for today's practice. So letting go of your day so far, closing down the eyes and trying to quieten the mind down now before we start to move. So letting go of any to-do lists that are running through your mind at this point. We just want to really become present, become settled into the body, rooting through the sit bones, relaxing the shoulders down the back, just reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling. So creating a bit of length in the spine before we start to open up the body a bit more. And just concentrating on your breath. So bringing the focus inwards into the breath. And we're not changing the breath at the moment, we're just noticing the quality of the breath. How do you feel today? Does it feel calm? Does it feel quick? Noticing the rise and fall of the chest. And trying to release any thoughts from the mind, just concentrating on this one point. And then bringing the breath deeper now. We're going to bring the breath into the belly. So come to our yogic breathing. So you can bring the hands onto the belly if that helps. Just to know where to guide the breath. So when we inhale, we press the hands away. And exhale, the hands draw back towards the spine. So inhaling deeply into the belly. And exhaling fully. And starting to slow this breath down. So taking these deep inhales, but just slowing the breath down, elongating the breath. Dropping into our parasympathetic nervous system. So starting to calm the body down and send that signal to our nervous system that we're safe. So notice how this breathing is different to the natural breath that you had, which was probably more in the chest, and we're taking this breath down, deepening, expanding through the rib cages as we inhale, and exhale, letting everything go. You can bring your hands onto your knees if they were on your belly, but just keep that deep breath into the belly. And this is the breath that we want to create throughout the practice. So every time we go through a movement, I'll guide you with an inhale and an exhale. And we're using that breath to control the movement. With Vinyasa, we're one breath, one movement. But that's where we want the breath to go, to that deep place. It keeps the movement nice and controlled, and the concentration into the body. And we will lose that deep breath, it's just natural. We'll start thinking about the positions, the other movements, and we might just go back to our shallow breathing. But just when we remember, just to take that breath back down, so that's the intention. And we're always breathing in and out through the nose. If you feel like you need to breathe through the mouth, it's because we feel that we're not getting enough oxygen, but we are if we breathe slowly and deeply. So although your brain might, want you to kind of gasp in that air, that's not where we really need to be, and it doesn't actually help because it does just take the air into the chest. It doesn't really take it where it needs to go, into the lungs and getting that extra oxygen. So we're just keeping that mindful breath going. And then if your eyes are still closed, you can open them now. And we're just going to start to wake up the body. So gently drop your right ear to your right shoulder. We want to try and keep the spine central, so try not to lean at this point. And then with an exhale, we're going to roll the head down, chin towards the chest. So we want the shoulders to still be nice and relaxed, and we're releasing through the back of the neck. Inhaling, rolling the head up to the left side. And when you reach the left shoulder, pausing here. Stretching through the right side of the neck. And then exhale, rolling back down. Chin to chest, releasing the back of the neck. Inhaling up to your right side, and when you reach the right shoulder, we're pausing here. Everything is loose. And then exhale, roll the head back down. Inhaling up to the left side. Taking this time to really release any tension. And exhale, rolling the head down. Last time, releasing through the back of the neck. Inhaling to your right shoulder, pause here. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to roll the shoulders back. So again, our areas where we hold all the tension. Notice how your shoulders are feeling today. Where is that tension? I've got one bit just here that needs to definitely get released before we start doing our down dog. So just slow down if there's a point where it feels like you need to spend more time there. And then rolling the shoulders forwards. So really bringing the shoulders up to the ears, exaggerating that movement. And again, notice where you might have any sticky areas. And really releasing here. And then coming to center. I'm going to clasp the hands, press them away from you, palms are facing forward. Rounding through the top of the back, you can feel that space in the shoulder blades. You can wriggle around a bit and just create a bit more space. And then inhale, looking up, hands up to the ceiling. So you can stretch through the front of the throat as well. And then exhale, we're going to draw a circle all the way around to the right. So a big wide circle here, rounding through the top of the back, feeling every movement as you move around. Coming through center, then inhale, drawing that big circle up to the ceiling. Looking up, pause here for a moment. Inhale. And exhale, draw that circle back round to the left. So again, articulating through the top of the back. Notice these movements. Notice the releasing sensations. Through center, inhale. Drawing that circle back to the ceiling. Look up here, pause for a second, and exhale, float the fingertips down. And then just bending through the side body, press your right hand into your mat, left sit bone into the ground. Inhale, reach up with the left arm, reaching high, creating space on the side body. And exhale, bending to the right. Breathing deeply here, look up to the ceiling, opening through the chest. And then exhale, bringing the left palm down, press into that palm, root down through the right sit bone. Inhale, reaching up high, creating space and length in the right side body. Exhale, bending to the left. Gazes to the ceiling, chest is nice and open here. To create even more space, you can press into that palm that's on the ground. Breathing here. And then exhale, bringing that right hand down. Just bringing the arms out in front of you. Just going to do a couple of wrist circles. So almost make some infinity signs with your wrists. So one way, then the other. So we're just waking up the wrists. Always needed before a flow. And get rid of any cricks and cracks. I've got a few going on. And then coming back through center, just extending the fingers out to the ceiling, and then just flex and release. So flex up to the ceiling, and just pointing the fingers down a couple of times here. There's a little bit of strengthening and loosening. And then coming back to center, we're going to make fists and just flick the fingers out. So this is going to wake up your forearms. So just keep doing this a few times, just in your own time. You'll start to notice those forearms wake up a little bit, starting to get ready to go. And then releasing down. Give your arms a little shake. They're definitely ready to go now. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees, coming into our tabletop. So bringing your shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees, so making sure you're in that lovely square. We're going to come through our cat and cow. So waking up the spine now, we're going to inhale, drop the belly, tailbone points up, looking up. And then exhaling to round. So really pressing away from the yoga mat, around the spine as much as you can. Inhale, drop the belly, tailbone points up, looking up. Still pressing away from the yoga mat so we're not collapsing into the shoulders. And then exhaling to round. Inhale, drop the belly, look up, tailbone points up. And then exhaling to round. And then coming back to your neutral spine, we're going to bring the left foot to start with out to the side. So bring the sole of the foot onto the ground and try and keep your ankle in line with your hip. So we're in one straight line here. And then find your foundation on the mat. Then we're going to press the weight into the left palm. Inhale, reach up with the right. So this is a very awkward twist. And then we're going to exhale, bring that right hand underneath the armpit. So threading the needle, but we're not coming down onto the ground. We're just reaching through. Inhale, reach back up to the ceiling. Exhale, reaching through again, just as far as you can. Inhale, lifting that right arm to the ceiling. And exhale, threading the needle. This time we are going to come down onto the shoulder, onto the cheek, and bring the left arm over the head. So in a thread the needle gate pose variation here. So just remember to breathe into the belly. And then bringing that left palm underneath the shoulder to create that base so we can lift the right arm up again to the ceiling and coming back down. Bring that left knee back into your tabletop. And then we're coming to the other side. So bringing the right foot out. Sole of the foot on the ground. Ankle in line with your hip. Grounding down here into both palms, shift the weight into the right palm. Inhale, lift the left arm high. Exhale, thread the needle underneath the armpit, reaching through. Inhale, reaching high with the left hand. Exhale, reaching underneath, threading the needle. Inhale, reaching high to the ceiling. Exhale, reaching through. This time the left shoulder and the left cheek comes down and the right arm extends overhead. And breathing here, breathing into the belly. And then bring that right palm underneath the right shoulder. Inhale, lifting the left hand up to the ceiling again. And exhale, bringing the hand down. Bring that right knee underneath back into your tabletop. And this time we're going to stretch the left leg out long. So we're just pressing the heel towards the back of the room. And then we're going to hop this left leg over the top of the right and just look towards your left foot. So again, creating a sort of side stretch on the left side of the body. Breathing here. And then with an inhale, hop that foot back over, coming back to your tabletop. This time stretching the right leg out long, press through the back of the heel. And then with an inhale, we're going to hop that right foot over this time and look towards your right foot. Breathing deeply here, just increasing the benefits of the stretch along the side body. And then bringing that right leg back, coming back into your tabletop. And then from here, we're going to just bring this right foot. So you can stretch the right leg back again, just to give yourself a little bit of sort of leverage here, I guess, because we're going to bring the right foot on the outside of the right hand. Whoop. So just stepping forward here. And we're going to come into a lizard pose. So you can kind of walk this right foot a bit forward, so leaning into the back leg slightly. And then we're just here in our lizard pose. So hands are on the mat. And just walk the foot forward until you can feel a lovely stretch on the inside of the right inner thigh and on the left quad. But again, nothing too much here because we're at the beginning of the practice, so just a nice stretch here and breathe. And then we're going to tuck the back toes, pick up the back knee, and we're going to step this left foot to the outside of the left hand at the front of the mat. Whoop, all the way forward. And then we've got both feet on the edges of the mat, so point the toes out towards the side, and then we're going to come into a yogi squat. So if you can have both feet flat on the floor, that's amazing. Usually helps if you have them wider, so definitely to the edges of the mat. And then pressing into your thighs, just with your elbows to open the knees. And here we want to lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling rather than sinking down. We're lifting up and breathing here. And then with an exhale, we're going to plant the palms and then lift the hips up high. So we're in our forward fold and just heel toe the feet so that we're hip width apart here. And then we're going to fold here and hang in our ragdoll. So you can grab opposite elbows with opposite hands and just allow gravity to pull your head towards the ground, opening out through the spine, opening the vertebrae, and you can gently rock from side to side if that feels good, opening through the hips, whatever feels good. You can feel the back of the legs
Just starting to stretch and elongate here. And then we're going to exhale, we're going to drop the fingertips towards the ground. And then we're going to inhale, we're going to draw a line with the fingertips. You can gently bend your knees here. So coming up to standing as slowly as we can. So we're just stacking the spine. We're in no rush here. And we're coming all the way up to standing. So the head is the last to arrive. And we're in our Tadasana mountain pose. So for this one, we want to roll the shoulders away from the ears, palms are facing forward. We're gently tucking the tailbone and gently tucking the chin so that we're creating a lovely straight spine. Again, imagine the crown of the head is reaching towards the ceiling. So we've got this lovely open, spacious body. Then we're going to inhale, reach the hands all the way up to the ceiling in your Hasta Tadasana. And then exhale, hinging forward from the hips, we're going to dive all the way down into our Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, so flat back, roll the shoulders away from the ears, looking forward, creating that lovely flat back. Hands can be wherever they need to be on the legs. And then exhale, plant the palms, step the right foot back, then the left, and we're going to come into our downward facing dog. This is our first down dog, so we're going to walk the dog here. So just creating any movement you need now. Feel your body. We've tuned in nicely with the breath, so start to just see what's there. Where do you need to move? Where do you need to release? Do you need to twist from side to side? Bend the knees, pedal the heels. Where needs a little bit of releasing before we come to stillness? Do we need to rock forwards, backwards? And then when you're ready, we're coming to stillness in our down dog. So find your hands shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart. And we're pressing the tailbone high up towards the ceiling. We're pressing away from the yoga mat, out of the wrists, out of the shoulder joints, creating space there as well. And breathing here. And then with an exhale, we're going to drop the knees, coming back into our tabletop. So finding that square shape, we're going to stretch the left leg back this time. So creating that lever or a springboard, I'm trying to think what it is. Bit of a springboard, and we're going to bring the left hand on the outside of the left foot this time. So bringing that foot forward, coming into our lizard pose on the other side. So this time you can walk that left foot slightly forward, lean into your front, your right thigh, lean slightly forward. And when you found that position where you can feel a lovely stretch on the inner hip and a slight stretch on the right quad, we're going to stay here and breathe. And then when you're ready, we're going to tuck the toes, pick up the back knee. And if you remember from last time, we're going to step to the front of the mat. So step that right foot on the outside of the right hand and come down into our yogi squat. So again, adjust where you need to. If the heels don't come down onto the mat, that's absolutely fine. We're just going to have the intention for them to eventually reach the ground. And again, pulling up through the spine, nice and tall here. If it feels good, you can sway from side to side. That sometimes feels really nice into the hips. But just see how your body is feeling today. Breathing into the belly. And then with an exhale, we're going to drop the hands again. Inhale, reach the hips up high into your forward fold. And again, heel toe the feet to hip width apart. And just fold down here. So once again, you can grab your elbows, or you can just let the hands dangle down. Maybe that creates a different sensation this time. And just allowing again the legs to stretch out. Notice if this time feels a bit different. Do you feel a bit more elongated? Can you reach a bit lower? And breathe here. And with an inhale, we're going to drop the fingers to the mat. And then with an exhale, actually, fingers to the mat, sorry. And then an inhale, we're going to draw the line up the legs. So we can go a little bit faster this time. It's been a little bit warmer. But just go at your own pace. Knees can be gently bent. And coming all the way up to standing. And then bringing the feet hip width apart. We're back in our Tadasana mountain pose. So we know the drill now. We're going to make sure that the spine is nice and tall. Shoulders away from the ears. And then we're going to inhale, reach the hands up towards the ceiling. Really stretching out of the waist. Exhale, folding forward all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Back is flat, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, plant the palms, step the right foot back, then the left foot into your downward facing dog. We've already walked our dogs, so we're coming straight to stillness here. We're going to try and press the chest towards the thighs, which just creates that deeper V shape and just brings the hips up closer to the ceiling. So we're here in our down dog, breathing here. You can press into the fleshy parts of the thumb, so the kind of base of the thumb, and just you can also grip the mat with your fingertips. It kind of creates a really stable base for your hands. Then with an inhale, we're going to ripple forward into a plank. So drop the hips slightly and press away from the mat. So again, we're doming through the upper back rather than collapsing into the shoulders. Breathing here. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin all the way down, keeping the elbows tight in towards the body as you lower down. And then when we're here, we're going to inhale, roll the shoulders back, chest shines forward into your baby cobra. Press the tops of the feet onto the mat and the pubic bone. So your legs and glutes are engaged when you come up into your baby cobra or cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, tuck the toes. Exhale, press back through your child's pose. Sit bones towards the heels. And inhaling up into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. With an inhale, we're going to ripple forward into a plank. So find your position here, strong in your plank. And then you're going to bring your right hand underneath your face. And we're going to twist into a side plank. So you want to just keep your hips as high as you can and reaching up towards the ceiling. If that feels quite a lot at this point, you can bring the right knee down and come into a half plank. So see how you're feeling here. Try and stay in your high plank if you can. Breathing here. Exhale, bring the left hand down, come back into your plank. Drop the hips slightly. And then bringing the left palm underneath the right. Coming into your plank on the other side, lifting the hips up high, reaching that hand towards the ceiling. And breathing here. Then with an exhale, we're going to bring that right hand down, coming into our plank. So dip the hips again. And we're going to dip the hips even further and come into a hanging cobra. So inhale, looking up to the ceiling. And then exhale, pressing up into your downward facing dog. And breathing here. With an inhale, we're going to raise the right leg into a three-legged dog. So keeping the hips level, square to the mat. Exhale, bring the knee through to the nose. Stepping to the front. Keeping the back heel lifted, we're going to rise up into our high lunge. So shoulders away from the ears. And then just kick through the back heel, which keeps that back leg nice and strong. Make sure the knee's over the ankle here. So keep facing the hips towards the front of the mat. And then we're going to straighten the front leg and just lift here. So straightening, lift up to the ceiling. Exhale, lower. Inhale, straighten through that front leg, lifting up high. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lifting high. Exhale to lower back into your high lunge. And then exhale, frame the front foot and stepping back into your downward facing dog. And breathing here. Then with an inhale, we're going to raise the left leg into our three-legged dog. Exhale, knee through to the nose, stepping to the front. And inhaling up into our high lunge. So making sure that we're the same on this side. Pressing through the back heel. Knees over the ankle, hips are facing the front of the mat. Shoulders away from the ears. Breathing here. And with an inhale, we're going to straighten that right leg. Lift the hands towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, straighten through the leg. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, straighten through the front leg. Exhale to lower. Inhale here. Exhale, framing the front foot. And step back into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. With an inhale, we're going to ripple forward into a plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest chin all the way down to the mat. This time we're going to stay on the mat, just shifting back slightly, but staying here. We're going to bring the hands behind, so palms are facing the ground. So again, you're pressing into the tops of the feet, legs and glutes are engaged. And we're going to inhale, come up to our Shalabhasana locust pose. So we're going to inhale to lift the shoulders and the chest off the ground. So inhale to lift. Arms are pulling towards the back of the room. Breathing here. And exhale, lower down. You can bring your hands underneath your forehead, like a little pillow. And just take a couple of breaths here. And then bring the hands back behind. This time we're going to lift the legs off as well. So you still want to keep the legs and the glutes engaged, but it's just going to be your sort of pelvis and your hips that will be left on the mat. So we're going to inhale to prepare, exhale, and then inhale to lift. Flying here in your locust pose. Breathing into the belly. And exhale, lower down. Again, make that pillow with your hands. And you can twist your hips from side to side if that feels good. And then bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders. So forearms are down on the mat. We're going to come into our Sphinx pose. So again, just keeping those legs and glutes nice and engaged. It just helps to protect the lower back as well as keeping the legs strong. And we're going to press into the mat. So pressing the head away from the shoulders again. Crown of the head reaches towards the ceiling in this gentle back bend. And then sort of lower yourself down a little bit, keeping the arms where they are. We're going to tuck the toes and come up into a forearm plank. All the planks today. So coming into your forearm plank and breathing here. Trying to keep in one straight line, so try not to keep the hips too high. Breathing here, you can feel a bit of wobbling going on. That means it's good, that means it's working. The muscles are going, I'm not sure about this, but they will thank you in the end. And exhale, lower down. So just coming back into your Sphinx pose briefly, reaching the crown of the head high. And exhale, lower down. Going to bring the palms underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. We're going to gently press back into a child's pose. So just however you need to get there. So you can untuck the toes when you arrive. Press the sit bones towards the heels. Bring the forehead down and reach the arms out long. If the forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can always grab a book or a block or a cushion just to make that just a little bit more comfortable for you. So this is your resting pose. And this is where we want to connect back to the breath always. So we want to breathe into the belly, expanding the belly onto the thighs. Notice how the whole rib cage expands when you inhale all the way round to the back. And slowing down the breath here just helps to bring the heart rate down. Slow everything down before we come back into the flow. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift up into our downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips up high, and finding your positioning here. Breathing here. And with an inhale, we're going to raise the right leg into our three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the knee through to the nose, step to the front. We're going to pivot the back foot 90 degrees. We're going to keep the heel at the front in line with the arch at the back and come up into your warrior two. So feet are in one long line. The hips are facing the long edge of the mat now. So if you're turning a bit, just really bring those shoulders over the hips and then reach the arms out long. So imagine someone's pulling you in opposite directions. Knee is over the ankle so we're not allowing it to knock in. And press into the outer edge of the back foot, keeping that back leg nice and strong. And breathing here. With an inhale, we're going to reach forward, flip the palm, and reverse the warrior. So gazes to that top hand. We want to reach up and out of the waist. So from both sides, we're elongating. Breathing here. And then we're going to exhale, come back into our warrior two as elegantly as we can, which is not a lot for me. We're going to come to a Skandasana over the left leg. So come to your Skandasana, the right toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Crouching over this left leg. We're on the fingertips here, but if you can, find a point on the ground and bring your hands to prayer. Taking a breath here, and then coming back to the front of the mat. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale back into your warrior two. Inhaling here. Exhale, framing the front foot. And step back into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. I'm going to do that on the other side. So inhale, raise the left leg into your three-legged dog. Exhale, knee through to the nose. Dome the upper back, step to the front. Pivot the back foot 90 degrees. Feet are in one long line, and then inhaling up into your warrior on the other side. So arms extending in opposite directions. You can widen your stance if you need, adjust yourself and then come into your strong warrior and breathe here. With an inhale, we're going to reach forward, flip the palm and reverse the warrior. Breathing here. And then exhale back into your warrior two. Inhale here. I'm going to exhale Skandasana to the right leg this time. So find your way to the back of the mat. Left toes point forward. Staying here if you want, or bringing the hands to prayer if you can find your balance. Find that point of focus. And then exhale, bring the fingertips down. Come to the front of the mat, bend through the front knee. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale into your warrior two. Inhale here. Exhale, frame the front foot. Step to the back of the mat into your downward facing dog. And then we're going to breathe here. Inhale, ripple forward into a plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest chin all the way down. Inhaling up into your cobra, chest shines forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, tuck the toes. Exhale, press up through your plank. And inhaling up into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. With an inhale, we're going to look in between the hands. You can walk or jump to the top of the mat. If you're jumping, bend the knees and just jump forward into your forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to prayer at heart center. And then just turning to the side of the mat, we're going to bring the feet out long. And just gently turn the toes inward, so slightly pigeon toe them in, not low, just a fraction. We're going to inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold all the way down, hinging from the hips. So coming to whatever is good for you in terms of a fold. Again, if the hands don't reach, you can always grab blocks, books, or a cushion, just to give you a bit of extra support. But we always want the elbows to be facing towards the back, facing behind us, so they're not collapsing to the side. Same as our chaturanga, the elbows are hinging backwards. And the crown of the head is reaching towards the ground. And breathe here. And then inhale, we're going to come to a halfway lift. Fingertips under the shoulders. Bring your hands onto your hips. Core is engaged. And inhale all the way up to standing. And then just pigeon toe, well not pigeon toe, bring the toes towards the corners of the mat this time. So at a 45-degree angle. And we're going to come down into our goddess pose. So try and keep the shoulders as far back as you can so your spine is nice and straight. And gently sort of press your knees to the back of the mat here. Breathing here. And we're going to inhale, bring the hands to prayer overhead, straighten through both the legs. Exhale back into your goddess pose. Inhale, straighten, fingers to touch overhead. Exhale, goddess pose. Inhale, fingers are touching overhead. Exhale, goddess pose. And then we're going to just step to the back of the mat. Whoop. And come facing forward. Feet are hip width apart. We're going to inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms and step back or walk forward into your downward facing dog. So coming into your down dog and breathing here. Then with an inhale, we're going to raise the right leg into a three-legged dog. And then we're going to split the dog here. So stack the hips over one another and try and point your knee towards the ceiling and kick yourself in the bottom. So try and keep the hands, the weight evenly placed in your hands as you're pressing that knee up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring that leg down. Go back into your down dog. Inhale, raising the left leg high into a three-legged dog. And then we're going to split the dog again. So pointing that knee up towards the ceiling. Breathing here. And then coming back into your down dog. Find your position, chest towards the thighs, hips high up towards the ceiling. Then with an inhale, we're going to ripple forward into a plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest chin all the way down. Inhale, roll the shoulders back into your cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, tuck the toes. Exhale, press up through your press up. And inhaling back into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. And with an inhale, we're going to raise the left leg into a three-legged dog. Let's do that then, left leg. Exhale, knee through to the nose, stepping to the front of the mat. So keeping that back heel lifted, inhale, rise up, high lunge. And then exhale, hands to prayer at heart center. We're going to come into a warrior three. So we're going to spring off that back foot, float the back leg up, and come into one long line. So just to demonstrate, with an inhale, pressing up, whoop, floating the back leg up, and then coming into one long line. Back a bit here. Find a point of focus on the floor, keep the hips square to the mat, and breathe here. And then with an inhale, we're going to bring the knee in towards the chest. So bring the knee all the way up, give it a hug, and lower down. If you have to put your foot down, that's fine. We're just having the attention to kind of pick it back up again. And then we're going to come into our flamingo pose. So I'll come to face you, but we're just going to stay facing the front of the mat. So bringing your awareness and your strength into this left leg. And then we're going to bring this right knee into the chest. Hands to prayer at heart center. Flex the foot, kind of just makes it a bit stronger in that leg. And then bring the shin just over the thigh. Just make sure it's not on your knee joint. So if you need to shift it up a little bit. And then hands to prayer. Find your point of focus here. And then we're going to sit down and try and bring the forearms onto the leg. But just come down as far as you can here into your flamingo pose. And if you fall, just come back in. And just finding that point of focus. As I always say, balance is a 70% mental. So physically we can do them. It's our mind that tells us we can't or distracts us. And breathe here into the belly. And then when you're ready, inhale, lifting up. Whoop. Give that left leg a shake. And then we're back at the top of the mat here. And we're going to bring the hands to prayer at heart center. So shifting the weight into that left leg again. I'm going to bring the right knee into the chest, flex the foot. Again, I just find that sort of Keeps the leg nice and strong. And then we're going to come back through our warrior three. So hinging forward. Just bring that left leg out long, level the hips. Take a breath here. And then we're going to step to the back of the mat. Inhale, reach up into your high lunge. Exhale, frame the front foot and step back into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. Then with an inhale, we're going to raise the right leg into our three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the knee through to the nose. Step to the front of the mat. Keeping that back heel lifted. Inhaling up, high lunge. Breathing here. Exhale, hands to prayer at heart center. And again, springing off that back foot. Coming into your warrior three. So lifting that back leg. Trying to keep the leg and the chest parallel. But if that doesn't happen, that's fine. So the intention that we're trying to go for. Breathing here. Embracing the wobbles. Knowing that each time we're doing our best and our balance is different every single day. Inhale, bringing that left knee in towards the body. Trying not to put the foot down. Giving ourselves permission if we do. And bringing the knee into the chest. And lower down. Ooh, so the balance is now onto the right leg. Coming to our flamingo pose on this side. So strengthening that right leg. We're going to bring the left shin over the right thigh. So again, just help to bring it away from the knee joint. Flex through that left foot. Bring your hands to prayer. So find your point of focus, the most important part. And then when you're ready, start to sit into your flamingo. And just find the point where you feel that that's enough, that that is your balance for today. And breathe here, bringing the forearms onto the leg if you can. But if not worrying about that. And breathing into the belly. It's more about the focus in all of these balances. The mind and body workout. And then when you're ready, coming out of the pose with control. Giving that right leg a shake. It's definitely feeling it there. We know it's working. And then we are going to bring the strength back into that right leg. Hands to prayer at heart center. Bring the left knee into the chest. And exhale back through our warrior three. So finding that last bit of strength in our balance. Kicking the back leg out long. Breathing here. And then stepping to the back of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up into your high lunge. Exhale, plant the palms and step the right foot back into your down facing dog. And we're going to inhale, ripple forward into a plank. Your choice here, you can do knees, chest, chin, cobra or full chaturanga. If we're doing full chaturanga, we're going to inhale, shift the weight gently forward. Exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, come up into your up dog, tops of the feet are on the mat. And exhale, inhale into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. And with an inhale, we're going to look in between the hands. Again, you can walk or jump to the top of the mat. And coming to a forward fold at the top of your mat. And breathing here. We're going to come into our standing splits. So keeping the fingertips on the mat, or again, if you need blocks or books or even a cushion, you can. So try with the fingertips. If it means that you can't keep this right leg straight, then maybe try and find something to make the arms a bit higher. And then we're going to lift the left leg high. So pointing the toes this time, but it really doesn't matter how high this leg goes. The intention is keeping the hips level and then just folding the nose towards the knee. And then just breathing here. And then with an exhale, we're going to step to the back of the mat, bring that back knee down, plant the left palm on the inside of the right foot, untuck the toes, inhale into an easy twist. So reaching that hand up high. If you feel that you want to here, you can tuck the back toes, pick up the back knee, and come into a less easy twist. Breathing here, reaching up, not putting any weight if we can into that bottom hand. And then exhale, frame the front foot. If the back knee is down, pick up the back knee and step to the front of the mat. And come to your fold here. And then coming to the other side. So bringing the fingertips down or onto your props. We're going to keep this left leg nice and straight. And inhale, reach through the right leg. So again, just keeping those hips square. That's always the intention here. And then exhale, fold the nose towards the knee. And breathing here. And with an exhale, we're going to step to the back of the mat. Back knee comes down. Place the right hand on the inside of the left foot. Inhale, reach up into your easy twist. This could be enough for you today. Otherwise, you can tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee. But again, making sure that you can lift your hand off of the mat. There's not much weight going into that bottom hand. It's more about lifting with this left hand. Breathing here. Then exhale, bringing that left hand down. If your knee is down, lifting the back knee. And inhale, just stepping to the top of the mat and folding forward. Inhale, reaching the hands high all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, plant the palm, step the right foot back, then the left into your downward facing dog. And then last time, we're going to ripple forward into a plank. So yogi's choice, knees, chest, chin, cobra or chaturanga. Inhale to rise. Exhale into, and then inhale into your downward facing dog. And breathe here. So one last bit of shoulder strengthening here. We're going to drop the forearms down. So drop the knees just to start with, just to check your arms are in line. So you want to be able to hold onto your elbows with your hands and then spin your forearms forward, and that's the exact position that they need to be in to make sure your shoulders are supported. And then we're going to press down into the palms, press down into the forearms and into the elbows. And then we're going to come into our dolphin pose. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips high, and just walk in as far as you can here, pressing out of your shoulders. It's going to feel really tough here, but we're just really strengthening these shoulder joints and the muscles around the shoulder joints. Breathing here, keep your head off of the ground. You can either look in between your thumbs, or if that feels difficult on the neck, just look in between the elbows. And just stay up for as long as you can here. We all have a finite amount of time we can do this pose. And then come into your child's pose whenever you're ready. If you want to come out and just try that again, feel free. Each time strengthening, getting ready for our handstands and our inversions. And then when we're here, we're going to meet in our child's pose. So bring the forehead down or onto your cushion or your book. And then this time bring the arms alongside the body. So just releasing through the shoulders and coming back to the breath. Deepening the breath. Anything on our shoulders really brings the heart rate up, so just using the breath to calm the heart rate down. And when you're ready, bringing the palms underneath the shoulders, lifting yourself up to seated. And then we're going to come to seated. So swing the legs forward and bring the legs out long. Flex through the feet, keep the legs nice and engaged here. We're going to inhale, reach up to the ceiling and exhale, fold forward into our forward fold here. So grab whatever is accessible. And with an inhale, we want to lengthen the spine and exhale, fold forward. If you need to bend the knees here as much as you need, that's absolutely fine. Helps to keep the spine straight, and that's perfect. And exhale, drop the head. Breathing here. With each exhale, you can sink a little bit lower. Then inhale, reaching the hands high. Exhale, bring the palms down to the sides. And then we're going to bring the left foot on the inside of the right knee. So keeping those right feet flexed. Toes up to the ceiling. We're going to hop this right leg over. It's the left leg. Why can't I do this? Left leg over. And then we're going to bring the left fingertips behind. We're not putting any weight on these fingertips. They're just there as a gentle support. We're going to inhale, reach up with the right arm. Exhale, bring the elbow on the outside of the left knee. And then inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist to look over the left shoulder, keeping those feet that are on the ground flexed. Breathing here, inhale, lengthens. Exhale to twist. Inhale back to center. And then just one last twist here. We're going to bring the right hand to the outside of this left foot, so keeping the knee bent. And then we're going to straighten through that left leg. So again, making sure that grounded leg is nice and strong. So if we want to try and straighten this leg as much as possible. So kick your foot into your hand. And then inhale, reach behind with the left hand. And breathe here in your half Lord of the Fishes pose. Breathing here, keeping the spine nice and straight. So still inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting. But also kicking that foot forward so you're reaching in opposite directions here. Breathing here. And then exhale, coming through center. Bringing the left leg out long. Bring the right foot inside the left knee this time, flexing the left toes. Inhale, hop that foot over. Bring the right fingertips behind, lengthen the spine. Inhale, reach up with the right hand. Exhale, the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. It's the twist. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twist, looking over your right shoulder. Again, making sure these fingertips are lightly touching the floor. Inhale, lengthen. exhale to twist. And breathing here into the belly still. And inhale back to center. I'm going to come to the other side here with our half lord of the fishes. So bringing the left hand on the outside of the right foot. Kick that right leg as straight as you can. And inhale, reaching back with the right arm. Breathing here, kicking in one direction, reaching in the other. Gazes to the back hands. Breathe into the belly. And then inhale back to center. Bring both feet onto the ground. Knees are pointing up to the ceiling. So we're going to come onto our backs now, rolling down as slowly as we can. So core control here. So it's going to be different for everyone. Listen to your own spine. And coming all the way down onto the mat. Bring your knees into the chest, giving yourself a hug. And then we're going to come to a reclined saddle pose here. So bring the right knee over the left. So trying to keep the knees in one long line. If they don't stay there, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to grab the outer edges of the feet. So you've got your shoulders off the ground while you're finding your position. If you can't grab the outer edges of the feet, you can grab the outer edges of the shins. Either is perfectly fine. And then we're going to exhale. Bring the shoulders and the head down. And just pull the feet or the shins in towards the body. So on this side, you should feel a stretch on the right outer hip as you come in. And then when that feels like enough, stay there and breathe into the belly. And then releasing the feet, bringing the feet back down onto the mat. We're going to come to the other side, so bring the left knee over the right, bring the hips in and the knees in towards the body, grabbing the outer edges of the feet or the shins. Again, this side might feel completely different, so just see what your body is telling you and don't go any further than that. So bringing the shoulders down, head down, and then bringing the feet gently into the body, until you can feel that stretch on the left outer hip. And breathing deeply here. And then releasing the feet, bring the feet down onto the mat, and then bringing the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug here. You can rock from side to side if that feels good. And then bringing the arms into a cactus shape. We're going to exhale, drop the knees over to the right, gaze comes to the left hand. And breathing all the way down the spine. And then inhale, knees through center. Exhale, knees over to the left, gaze comes to the right hand. Keeping that deep breath all the way down into the belly, base of the spine. And then inhale your knees through center. Give yourself one last hug here. We're going to bring the forehead up, curl into the smallest ball that you can. Keep everything tight here. Engage everything. And then exhale, release, coming into your Shavasana. So bringing the legs out long, arms out to the side. Grabbing any layers if you would like here, just before you come into your corpse pose, the resting pose, the most important pose of the practice, where your body takes in the benefits of the movement and allows you to rest and repair. Let go of any deep breathing now, coming back to your natural breath. And just notice if you're tensing any part of the body, any of the muscles, the shoulders, the hips, just allowing everything to relax into the ground. And also relaxing the face. We tend to hold a lot of tension in the forehead and the jaw, so just relax your face. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. And if thoughts try and rush back into the mind now, which they often will when we're giving ourselves a little bit of time and stillness, just keeping the intention to allow them to float away. And if you need something to focus on, just come back to the breath and focusing on the breath. Start to deepen your breath now. Bring some awareness back into your body and wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle your wrists and your ankles. Bring your arms overhead and give yourself a full body stretch. And then bring the knees into the chest, giving yourself one last hug here. And then rolling over to one side. Just staying in the fetal position for a couple of breaths. Gently pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Coming back to your cross-legged position.
Keeping your eyes closed if you can, keeping that inward gaze just a little longer. And just straightening up through the spine, relaxing the shoulders. Bringing your hands to prayer at heart center. Just thank yourself for taking the time to go through this practice. Move your body, connect with your breath, and still your mind. And bringing your thumbs to your third eye for wisdom, we bow and say Namaste. Thank you.